Hey.
Hi.
I don't understand why I'm not showing side by side.
Oh yeah, it's kind of like in the corner.
Huh? It's in the
I said,
corner?
yeah, I'm in the corner.
I know, that's so weird. And you have yours turned to the side too?
Mm-hmm.
Why? Okay, I guess I can't do it like that today. Okay, turn yours. I
Let's
don't
see.
know why it's not doing. Turn yours back straight because mine won't do it. It won't twist. Okay, all right. Okay, hey, Paige N.
Hey.
All right, let me share this to my page. Hold on just a second. I've been listening to this song all day because I love it. Okay, let me share it. To the page. Okay. All right. I'm excited. You got your hair. I see your hair.
Thank you.
Yes, hair. Okay. Yes,
Thank
honey.
you. I had to get it done because I was looking crazy.
Yeah, it's different from how it was earlier. You cute or whatever.
Thank you. Very different.
All right. So I'm excited to have you on here tonight. Thank you for agreeing to have this conversation with me. So how you feeling?
I'm good.
You good? I'm good. Okay, so before we get into the discussion, why don't you introduce yourself to the people? Tell them who you are.
Okay. Well, hi everyone. I'm Paige Hawkins. I go to Clark Atlanta University. I'm currently a junior right now.
Woo!
Almost up there. What else? You know, I do a plethora of things. I dance. I am currently in a pageant.
Wow.
And yeah, that's pretty much it. You know, my mom was on here a couple of weeks ago, and that's why I'm here today.
Yes. And thank you for being on. And for those that don't know who I am, my name is Siobhan Carter. I am the You Relationship Coach, and I am passionate about everything concerning relationships. So first starting with yourself. So I love to talk to people about having a healthy relationship with themselves and just loving on them more, really big on self-love. But I'm also big on just having healthy relationships with other people. So I like to have these dialogues about all different types of relationships, not just romantic, but all different kinds. So for the past couple of weeks, we've been talking to single parents. A couple of weeks ago, I had Paige's mother with my good friend Sharice Swan on here. And so, and we had a single father last week who has custody of his 3 boys. So I wanted to have Paige on to get the perspective from a child's perspective. Now that she's a little child, because she is a young adult now, but I wanted to have her perspective as well, coming from a single parent family. So that's what we're going to talk about today. And I have known Paige for quite a long time, since you were little, probably about 10 years now, I think I've known you. So I'm just amazed at how much you've grown and how much you've accomplished and going to college and all that good stuff. And I've just always just really been in awe of the things that you're doing. So I'm thankful to have you on here tonight.
Thank you.
So the first thing that I want to talk about, so we had your mom here on the show, like I said, a couple of weeks ago. And she talked about her perspective, you know, raising you when she was young and just the things that she had to overcome. So what was it like for you, you know, growing up in a single parent household?
So growing up in a single parent household, okay. How my dad described it to me when I was asking the questions like, why aren't y'all together, you know?
Yeah.
And he was just basically trying to fluff it up. Like, oh, you get 2 of this. You get 2 houses, 2 beds, you know, 2 TVs. And I was like, well, okay, cool. You know, so it was just, it was normal to me having my parents separated because when they were together, I was so young. So it's not something I necessarily remember. But I will always just be used to my mom being, you know, I'm always at mom's house. This is my home. And then when I'm at my dad's house, that's also my home, but sometimes, you know, it's like a vacation a little bit because I'm always with my mom.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, that's, you know, growing up basically between them and realizing that they were separate. Yeah, I had questions, but it would be sometimes where I didn't mind that they weren't together. Like, say if I got in trouble, I don't want two people down my back. I know I'm gonna have to hear from it, like from both of them, but I know one person at least gonna be on the phone while the other person in my face. I don't have to deal with everybody right here at one time. So it has its perks, but it also has, like, you know, the cons, because I always wanted to grow up in you know, a family household, but that's what I feel like my mom has given me anyways, like me with my grandmother and even like me adopted aunts and stuff. So it's just like, yeah, so it worked out.
Yeah. So you didn't feel like too much of a void, I guess, because you had your mother, and like you said, you had your grandparents, and then you also had your father, because he's, you know, involved in your life as well. So you didn't feel too much of a, I guess, a void there.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. So did you ever, so I was, you know how you watch TV and you see these little kids and they have their mommy and then their daddy, and then they try to put their parents' hands together to try to make them be together. Did you ever have those moments like that?
Not so noticeably.
Okay.
There will be times where we will all hang out, and, you know, I would see them having a conversation together, and I'm just observing, like, wow, this will kind of be like, you know.
Yeah.
My mother's being wild, sorry. But so yeah, it was never like oh, do y'all think y'all ever gonna get back together? Because I felt like I always noticed that my parents were dating other people, or not even dating, but having relationships with other people who weren't each other. So it was never I never questioned them on if they were going to get back together, because I already kind of knew they weren't.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah,
gotcha. So what would you say to those children or young adults who have parents that they want them to be together and that they're having a hard time accepting that they're not together? What words of encouragement, advice would you give to them?
I'll honestly say that if you really want to get your parents together, you really want your parents to be together, have a conversation with them, talk to them, because they're not going to know what you're feeling until you voice it. It's been a lot of problems where I've not voiced my opinion when I was younger, and I've learned that closed mouths don't get fed.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of things that I probably could have had when I was younger, but I was just too afraid to ask, or I felt that it wasn't my place. But as a child, you need to, even though you have to do everything in a very respectful way, and make sure your tone is nice and it's not coming off as rude. You just have to be like, well, mommy, I feel as though you and daddy should get back together or be together, and have them explain to you why that they can get back together or can't get back together. Because sometimes all the kid wants is the explanation. Like, why is this way?
Okay.
So, yeah.
So just to give some type of understanding, because a lot of times parents don't talk to their kids about that. It's just like, we're not together and that's it, so deal with it type thing. Yeah. So having that conversation, that's interesting to sit down and have that conversation, you know, with the child about it. Yeah. Okay. So what was it like being raised in two different households? Because you were, you know, having that blended family with your father is married and you have siblings with your father. So what was it like, you know, being a part of that blended family?
So, okay. It was hard for me.
Okay.
When he first got married, that was complete foolishness. Of, like, honestly, that whole situation was crazy. And it made me distance myself from that whole side of the family. Only because it's not like I found out by my mom, my dad. I found out by my great grandmother, my nana's mom. Like, not even somebody on my dad's side. I found out something on my mom's side. And
how old were you at the time?
I was probably around 20. So I was probably around like 13, 14 years old.
Okay.
So I found out, and it's because I call my grandmother all the time. So we were just having a regular conversation, and then she was like, "Oh yeah, your dad's getting, you're going to out of town because your dad's getting married because he was getting married in St. Thomas."
Wow.
And I'm like,
what?
like, whoa, like what's going on? And so all of that kind of just stirred up. It came to the point where I was going to go, but then I was going to be catching a plane by myself. I was not going to do that because I don't know, that's a really long ride for a 14-year-old child who has barely caught the plane. And going by myself, I wasn't prepared for that. And I really appreciate my mom for being there and basically holding my hand throughout that whole situation, because I feel as though if it wasn't for her advice, or if it wasn't for her initiative to sit down with the both of them and have the conversation that we ended up all having after everything was all said and done, then I probably still would have distanced myself from my dad's side of the family.
Wow. So your mom came in and just really helped to kind of navigate through that, because that can be a challenging situation. One, having to deal with your dad being with someone else, and then finding out, at the last minute, and so I'm sure there was a lot of emotions that came up as a result of that. Yeah,
it was a lot.
Yeah. So how did you work through it? Like, what are some things, like if there was somebody that's watching this that is in a similar situation, or just really having a hard time dealing with the fact that one of their parents has moved on, and meaning has started another family, so, and having to deal with all of that, what helped you to get through that?
I really felt what helped me was that I have people like cousins, friends who are really on my side. It came once I got older, because I've always been an observant child. So when my little brother was born, I would see like how he handled things differently with him. Okay. And especially like when my little sister was born, and I remember this because it was like last year. So we were at my little brother's graduation. He's graduating from kindergarten. And it was just like this whole little family reunion. Everybody was so happy. And I was just in the background like, yeah, my little brother's graduated and all, but I mean, what's the big deal?
Yeah.
I really kind of felt some type of way at the moment because everybody was there. And even though, people are always there for my graduations, like every time I would go somewhere on my dad's side, everybody's there. Like, Tiffany, that's my stepmother, my dad, and then everybody. I never had my mom, my dad, and everybody else. It would be my mom and everybody else, or my dad and the rest of his family.
Gotcha.
So I kind of felt like these kids are getting something I never had, but at the same time, I had to remember that my dad basically grew up with me.
Yeah.
Because he did have me at a young age, but at the same time, it was like, this is your responsibility. I understand that you are not necessarily ready yet, but you have to, make it work. And which I had a conversation with him and to basically voice my opinion, because I was about to leave.
He was like,
if I did not drive, they was lucky because I rode with them. But if I drove by myself, I would have left. Yeah. But I talked to him about that, and I really felt as though that really kind of helped our relationship. Because sometimes my dad needs the extra push in order for me to, not even for order for me to like get him to understand, but in order for him to even like say what he wants to say to me. So that's what I kind of observed from Dad. That's how I've really been dealing with it, is because I talked to him. And I have friends who are going through the same thing, and then I have friends who don't even know their dad. So it's just like I might as well take the advantage of being with my father and having this relationship with my father, because a lot of people don't have that.
Absolutely. And I want to pause you right here, Paige, because that is so. You have said so many amazing things that I just want to make sure we kind of drill in a little bit more. So the first thing you said was you acknowledged that you had some feelings about what was going on, with your family. So you saw your brother, you saw how everybody was coming together, and you saw how, you didn't have that. So it made you feel some type of way. And I want to kind of, talk about that a little bit, because there may be somebody that may be in this type of situation where they're feeling a certain kind of way about being a part of a blended family, and they just don't know, what to do with it. They hold it in, they suppress it, and just distance themselves instead of really having a conversation like you did with your father. Yeah. So if there is somebody out there that is feeling some type of way about being a part of a family, you feel like that your siblings are getting more attention or more care than you did, what Paige is saying is have a conversation, have a conversation and share what you're feeling. It's okay for you to feel how you feel, but holding it in can do more damage. If you're just sitting and holding it in, not saying anything, then that can create distance. It can create bitterness, anger, and all those kind of emotions. So thank you for having the courage to have that type of conversation with your father.
It's hard. No matter what.
Was it?
I'm hesitant when it comes to things like that because I'm not a confrontational person. Yeah. But he is.
Yeah. Okay.
So.
Yeah. And like your mom is saying, communication is key, and being open and honest is very important as well. Yeah. But at least you did it. And so, you had that conversation, and then you also looked at the bigger picture, because you're saying like you have friends who don't have their father, who don't even know their father. So you were able to gather data with the other people around you and make a very wise decision to say, you know what, I can be mad and not talk to my dad, but at least I know who my dad is. At least he's in my life. So let me try, to just be honest and open and cultivate this relationship. So yeah, that's good stuff. Good stuff. So if there's somebody out there that is feeling this way, understand the people around you. Take a look at the people around you that may not know who their father is or who their mother is, and just look at the bigger picture and the goal that you want to accomplish, and the benefits that you can have. So what would you say are the benefits of you having that conversation with your father?
He definitely puts more effort into having conversations with me now. If it's like calling me or sending me a random text message, if it's like talking about a movie, he does it now. It's like, I don't know if it wasn't, I don't want to say a wake up call, but it was kind of like, okay, this is how she feels, so I need to step up.
Yeah.
And even though she's 20 years old, that's still my child. Yeah. And she feels this way. So I feel I really need to, make something work and put the best foot forward, because I am 20, and I mean, I'm your first child, and I'm gonna have children one day, and I don't want them to be like, oh, well, I'm like, hey, this is your grandfather. I was like, hey, this is your granddaddy. This is who he is. This is who he is. Like, this is what he does. You're gonna love him. I don't want it to be like, I want my kids to appreciate him like how I appreciate him now. I don't want us to have a relationship where it's like, okay, well, you're my dad. Like, you're my dad, but you're not my father.
Yeah.
So,
yes, Paige. I'm just getting excited. This is such good stuff, because I feel like you are coming into an awareness and such a wisdom that a lot of people, even at my age, 40, don't come into. You're able to see things from a different perspective and make a very wise decision. So I'm just, it's exciting. Okay. I just get happy about this kind of stuff. Yeah. And I think one of the things that really makes me excited is because it's so important for a daughter to have her father. You know what I mean? Like, it's just that relationship, that bond is so key in a little girl's life, in a young adult's life. Like, even though you're 20, it's still a little girl inside of you that just wants her dad, So so I'm just excited about that.
Yeah, because I'll look at pictures of when I was younger, and I'll be like, wow, I look so in love with my dad. Like, when they say your father is really your first love, that's what it really looked like. That was my dad. Right? I felt like every time, I feel as though when I was younger, I was really excited to see him. And then as I got older, got more wiser, starting to realize more things, starting to understand more things. It's just, it kind of, the admiration went away. But now, since I am getting back older, is kind of coming back because now we can have more adult conversations. Now he can open up to me about stuff that he couldn't have done if I was, 13 or 14 years old. Because now he's looking at me like, yeah, she's an adult, she's grown up. Now I have to pour into her what was important to me when I was growing up as an adult.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about some of the things that your mom and your dad instilled in you. What would you say some of those things are?
Definitely a voice.
Okay. Yeah.
Because
your mama, I know your mama. I don't know, if your dad did it, but your mama gonna definitely tell you to say something. Okay, go ahead.
Yes, so definitely a voice. The first thing I could probably say that they told me, which is every Black person's parent telling them, is that somebody put their hands on you, you put their hands back on. You put your hands back on them. That was the first thing I learned. Then when it actually happened, my mama was like, well, why would you do that? Well, you could get in trouble. Next time, tell the teacher. And then my dad was like, well, did you hit her? Did you hit her? Because I'm not coming up to school if you didn't hit her. And I'm just like, oh, well, okay. So it was definitely, they definitely instilled to have a voice of reason. Because even though my action or my instinct might have said my dad, the voice of reason was my mama.
Okay, yeah, she is.
So she was always, they were both on my shoulders, like, all right, you're doing the right thing.
Yeah.
I think another thing that they have instilled very well into me was confidence.
Yes, I can see that. Yeah.
Because I always go for what I want to do.
Yes.
Even though I might question it a little bit, I will still do it. I might have to get, some validation from it or verification and, just sit there and dwell, like, do I really want to do this? But at the end of the day, I will still do it no matter how much money it costs.
Yeah.
Finesse, I got that from my mom and my dad too. And it's just, I really appreciate them for that because I have the ability to tell people to go for what they want to do now. Because I have a lot of mentees at school, a lot of sophomores and freshmen. It's one, she not graduated. She just transferred to another school in Georgia, probably 4 hours away. But she'll still text me, call me, and like let me know how she's doing. It's like, and she really made me realize that I'm helping people because she sent me a message the other day, and it was like, I really appreciate what you helped me with while my freshman year in college. She was like, you really raised me, the college me, and I really appreciate you for that. And I was like, wow, like, I did that.
Yes.
I really felt, touched because you never know what you're doing for somebody. Even like it amazes me how she just felt that way about me, and I told her, like, I will always hold you down because that's what I do. I don't. Yeah. And that's another thing I learned from my mom and my dad is to always stay loyal because you don't bite the hand that feeds you, and also you can use the people you're loyal to your advantage. For anything, a job, something like. I never try to burn bridges with anybody unless it's just, a burn bridge. I really can't. But there have been some reasons. It has been moments where I have picked up off of. They kind of instilled it in me. It was not probably. What's the word I'm looking for? It probably wasn't on purpose that they instilled it in me. Okay. It was just stuff that I observed from them, like how they handle certain situations with their attitudes and how they would talk to each other. And it was just like when I was in high school, my senior year in high school, and my friend at the time, she was hanging out with this girl. The girls wanted to, they had a problem with me, and I was on the cheerleading team. They had a problem with the cheerleaders and stuff, and I was the captain. So me as the captain, I'm captain first, and I'm going to be your friend later. And she couldn't understand that. But at the end of the day, you had these girls who you are so infatuated with, who were talking behind your back, would say stuff to you in your face. And I would tell her that, like, yo, don't, I understand that you want to be their friend, but they're not your friend. And I had to let her go because she didn't respect herself. And I cannot have people around me who do not respect themselves, because that means you do not respect me. And
this was in high school. You came to that conclusion. Yes. Okay, go ahead.
So she had, she had a problem with that. It was 3 of us, and she fell out with the other 2. Everybody knows my friend Naomi. That's my road dog. Always be my road dog. So she fell out with me and Naomi. And around the time we were getting into college, she sent me a message, and it was basically like explaining how not sorry she was, but like how she regretted our friendship and it ending. And the way I handled it was a very Reginald Hawkins way.
And that's your dad, right?
That's my dad.
Okay.
And because she had a sweater of mine. So the last thing I sent to her was, I didn't even respond to everything she said. It had to be a good, long, good paragraph. Whatever. And I was just scrolling through it. So I texted, I was like, so I'm leaving on, August 14th. You can give me back my sweater because we live around the corner from each other. And that's it. And my mom was like, now, Paige, why would you do that? She misses you. She wants to be your friend still. My dad was like, oh, well, that's what she get. You said the right thing. You said it better than I would have said it, because she would have got cussed out. And that's what I kind of learned from that. That's when I kind of realized that it's just stuff that they do, I naturally do because I see them do it.
Yeah.
Like my mother just said, children pay attention to everything. Like,
yes, and I think that's so key for parents to understand. I don't have children, but I did pick up on a lot of stuff my mom did. But just, as parents, it's important to understand what you're doing and saying around your children. I know it's hard, like I said, I don't have kids, so I don't know how to, navigate through that, or just to find the balance between that. But it's, if nothing else, if you don't get anything else from this conversation, think about the things that you're doing around your children, because they're watching everything, the things that you do, the things that you don't do. Are you a person of your word? Do you have integrity? That kind of stuff. So just watch what you're doing and saying around them, because they're watching. They're like little sponges, and then they grow up and become mini yous. And it's like, okay, do you want another one of those in the world? I don't know, but
yeah.
So it's just some things, like you said, some things your mom said, some things your dad said, that you just picked up on. So, and we do it, I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing, but the main thing is parents, watch what you're doing around your kids, because they're paying attention.
Yeah. And that even goes for like having younger siblings, because I know my little brother looks at everything I do. So I think I was on the phone, and then I said like the N-word, and then the next day he was like, "What's up, N-word?" And I was like, "Whoa, what you doing?" I was like, "What's going on?" And he was like, "What? You said it." I said, "That's not a good word." Then I had to talk to him about why that's not a good word and why he can't say it. And then he had the whole little thing, but you said it, and I was like, "Okay, you're right, but I'm not gonna say it no more." So I'm not gonna say it, you can't say it either. And he was like, "Oh, all right, okay, I got you." So it's also with like parents but also siblings, little cousins, anybody who could look up to you, because you never know who's watching you. Right. And I've learned that just off of, I knew that because that's what they tell me, but I didn't realize that probably till a couple of months ago, when this lady came up to me and she was like, "Hey, are you still dancing? I haven't seen you dance on the court in a minute. Like, what's going on with Onyx?" And I was just like, "Whoa, I've never seen you before. What's going on?"
Hey, who are you? And
she was like, "You're my favorite," because at the time I was the only thick girl on the team. So it was just like, I know that, but I didn't pay attention to it because it's just like, okay, I'm here to dance like everybody else. But when she came up to me and was just like, "Yeah, I've been missing y'all out on the court," it just made me realize that what we say to them all the time, to our team, like, everybody's watching y'all. Yeah. But it didn't mean something to me until somebody who I completely never saw in my life came up to me and was like, "Hey," or even when people come up to me and they'll be like, "Oh my gosh, I feel like I know you just because I see you on your mom's page," and all this other stuff. And I'll be like, "Oh, great, I'll give you a hug." It's just that simple things like that. And yeah, it's you gotta watch what you're doing out there now, because everybody has eyes on you.
That's true. That is so true. And I love what you said about even not just as parents, but even as an older sibling or a cousin or whatever, just any person that you can have influence over, just pay attention, be more mindful of, you know, how we're influencing somebody else's life because they're watching, like you said. So one of the things I wanted to talk about was your mom talked about the values that she wanted you to be, the type of daughter that she wanted you to be. But what type of person did you want to be? Like, as you were growing up, who did Paige say she wanted to be?
I want to be just like my mama. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh,
I saw her because it's like she does so much. She does
so much.
And then she still goes to sleep at night, still wakes up the next morning at a decent time to get me up and get me dressed for school. I was like, wow, you know, I hope to be back together one day. And then it was just, I just felt as though she made it easy to be a child, if that makes sense. If I wanted to cheer, she let me do it. If I wanted to dance, she let me do it. It came to a point where, she was like, you have to make a decision on what you want to do. Like, and of course, I picked cheer at the moment, but then when I got like around 15, 16, I was like, okay, Mom, I want to dance again. What's going on? And that's when I started getting to, dancing for Zion. Oh, I was always dancing for Zion, but putting more of my like time and effort into it because she had to sit down and talk to me like, okay, you're dancing, but you have to remember that you're dancing for God. And that's why it just made me want to be, more like her. Because I'm like, wow, she's so understanding. She explains stuff, but also her work ethic. I would see her doing like a business or, having an event. Like she had an event a couple of years ago where she had a lot of business owners and, sellers come through at the Hendry House. And basically she had, she let them sell their products. And that was a really good, like, networking way because especially in the DMV, there's not a lot of network. It's not a lot of network events. So I kind of, when I realized that, that's what kind of made me want to go to Atlanta. And that was also very hard for me because I'm a mama's girl. So when I came to Atlanta, when I decided to go to Atlanta, I was just like, I don't know how I'm going to feel about this, But it was all about her pushing me. Like, this is what you want to do. Are you going to be focused at home if you decide to stay home? Like, I don't want you coming home every weekend just because you want to come home, Paige. Like, are you going to do this? Are you going to be focused? Are you going to stay here? And I was just like, okay, you know what? I'll go to Atlanta.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. So she made it really easy to talk to her too, because it's been some times when I had to tell my mama something, and I knew her response was not gonna be what I wanted it to be, or it was not gonna be. It's not something she thought I was gonna tell her, and she handled it in a really good, supportive parenting way. And I feel as though that helped me be open with her more. Because if I'm telling you something and it's already hard for me to tell you, I don't want to feel judged. And I feel like my mom never judges me.
Wow.
Like, no matter what crazy thing comes out of my mouth, no matter what I say, like, it's always, okay, girl, calm down. You're doing too much. But it's never like, why would you want to do this in a negative way? If she wants me to explain why would I want to do this, she'd be like, okay, well, you need to sit here and you need to write this down. You need to have a plan. You need to figure out what you're going to do. So she pushed me to kind of be vocal with her, but also to have myself together and for me to become a planner, because my freshman year in college, I was all over the place. Okay. So she kind of, the way she guides me is helpful as well, because since my dad's in my life, but he is not as active as my mom is. Or it will be times where, I'll be at my dad's house, but I would still call my mom for like this homework assignment. Or it's just simple stuff that she did that made me trust her enough to give her, you know, to not even to give her tasks, but to talk to her, to have conversations. I can tell you the first real conversation I had with my mama was probably when I was 18. Even though all of my conversations are real, but like the first real adult conversation I had with my mom when I was 18. And, you know, I was in a relationship with that little boy.
I remember.
And, and we talked about stuff like that. And that made me realize, like, I'm grateful to have a mom like her, because like I said, there's a lot of people who don't have, even though they don't have a father, they don't even have a mom, or they have a mom, or they don't feel as though they could talk to mom about certain things.
Yeah.
And I feel as though I could talk to my mom about anything, you know, got a mark on my back. I'm like, hey, girl, can you look at this real quick? You know, can't really see back there, but can you look?
Yeah.
But she makes it really easy to be her daughter. Because, go ahead.
Oh, no, go ahead. I don't want to miss your train of thought. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, because she listens. And that's what I feel like, though, that's all the child wants, is for their parents to listen to them. And yeah, that's what she gives me. Yeah.
Whew, and I want to point out something that you said, because what I got from the things that you just said was acceptance was one of that I heard, you know, that your mom accepts you for who you are. She doesn't try to make you into somebody else. She doesn't try to make you be somebody that she wants you to be. Like, she has really giving you the space to explore Paige and figure out, like, allowing you to do all the things that you said you desired to do. So what that says is, okay, let me allow you to explore so that you can find out who you are, and then guiding you along the way, not guiding you with an agenda, but just really desiring for you to be who you were purposed to be. So that's one of the things I heard was acceptance. And like you said, it developed the sense of trust, wanting, you know, you being able to talk to her and feeling comfortable talking to her. So acceptance is so key. And then also, like you just said, and the latter part of your description was listening. And when I tell you that is, honey, you hit the nail on the head with that one. Listening, because that's one of the things that I have learned. Even when I was younger, I remember I would be, you know, in my room with the door closed, and I would write because I didn't feel heard. And one, because I didn't open up my mouth and have a voice to say what I needed. But I just didn't feel listened to or understood. So that is so powerful that you had that type of relationship with your mom, you know, and you felt listened to, you felt that she heard you, and just have developed that sense of trust. So that is beautiful. So for those parents out there that are watching, I just encourage you to be that listening ear for your child. And I know as a parent, you probably want to jump in and fix it and make it better. But sometimes, like Paige is saying, they just want to be listened to. They just want to be heard, you know. They just want to know that you're there, and that they can trust you with what they're sharing, that you're not going to judge them and you know, tell them you shouldn't do that. Okay, well, I did it. Well, what you going to do now? You know, so yeah. So thank you, Sharice, for being that type of mother to her, to Paige. Amazing woman, amazing. Oh man. So let's talk about dating. So parents and dating. How soon should a mother or father introduce someone that they are interested in to their children?
Okay. See, this is a question I've been thinking about. So I feel as though they should introduce the child to whoever they're dating once they feel as though, once the person is ready to meet their child.
Okay.
Second of all, if my mom was dating a man and he's ready to meet me, if my mom has to be ready for him to meet me as well.
Oh, okay.
But I've had, you know, situations where my dad was living with a girlfriend and I would just meet her based off of that. And then, you know, a couple months later, they'll be broken up. And I'll just be like, oh, okay, you know. So, but my mom, she did it differently. She didn't bring anybody around unless she knew they was going to stick around for a little bit.
Okay.
And then if that didn't happen, she'll be like, okay, well, you know, so-and-so's not here. But say if I, you know, build a relationship with that person, she'll be like, but that doesn't stop you from talking to them. What else? I feel as though that the relationship between the two should be serious. If you're going to, if you're thinking about marrying my mom, or, you know, you need to be serious about her, because I'm at the age now, or any child, if they are bold enough, they're going to ask you questions.
Yeah.
Especially guys, because I have guy friends who be like, their mom is dating, and he'd be like, well, yeah, I looked at him and I was like, okay, why are you here? Like, I mean,
right.
what are you doing with my mom that's going to make you different from everybody else?
Wow, that's a good question too. Ooh.
And they don't have the answer to that, because it's like, wow, they didn't really think that nobody was going to ask them. They didn't think that, especially a son or a daughter, will ask them that. But that's really who matters, because I feel as though when you're going into, say you're going to marriage, when you're marrying somebody who has a child, you're marrying the child too.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I feel you need to have a bond with that child, because just because you're interested in their mother or their father does not mean you don't put in the effort to be interested into the child as well.
Yeah.
And that is something that my stepmother did not do. That is why I was on a rocky path at the beginning. But like I said, the older I got, the more I understood, and the more I realized that she is not, you know, an open book. She is not as outgoing as I am. So I really kind of had to push her to talk to me, or I was just, you know, my dad would leave. Instead of me leaving with him, I would stay in the house.
Wow.
So I could be in her presence. And so she would be kind of forced to talk to me, and it would be a little awkward a little bit, but it still made her, it started for her to, I think she started to realize that, okay, well, she's trying, so I'm going to try too.
Yeah.
And it's not, of course, it's always on the adults first. But once you realize that your parent is starting to be serious with this one person, or is marrying this one person, you have to start putting your best foot forward as well. Because you have to meet somebody halfway. If somebody is trying with you and you're not trying back with them, they're just going to stop. And then when your parent hits you up about, like, okay, well, you know, so-and-so has been trying, you can't say, well, you know, sorry. But it's just like you have to give it to, especially if you live with if you live with your mom and your dad. For me, not living with my dad, it was easy, you know, kind of, you know, not seeing her, But when I was there, I was like, okay, hey, Tiffany, where you going? Oh, okay, I'll go too. Or like, if we're watching TV and she turns on a movie, not like, she'll ask what movie I watch. I'll make sure it's not like something that she'll be totally bored with in her mind. And it's just, I try to make like a bonding thing with her. I'll try to tell her about my day and stuff like that. So I feel as though when it comes to your parents dating, yes, it's definitely on them. It's definitely on them. But at the end of the day, when you realize, because you're going to know when your mom or your dad starts to like really feel somebody, because you could tell. Just like how I could tell when somebody like my mama. I tell her all the time when somebody like her. Oh yeah, he likes you. Okay. And she's like, "What, girl? You lying? Chill out." I'm like, "No, girl. He likes you. Okay. I can see it. I see what's going on. I can tell by the body language and how, you know, they start getting all posture and nice and stuff. No, I could tell with somebody like my mama. My dad, now I don't know. It's been a minute since somebody done tried it with him, but my mama definitely, I could tell when somebody is flirting with her, who wants her number. It's like first intuition with me. And
but you know what you said, Paige, that I think is so important. It's so important for any age, because you're teaching me something today, because one of the things that I think the little girl in me just wants my mama by myself. I don't want nobody to be with my mama. I just want my mama by myself. But what I hear you saying is, once you figure out that your parents, whether it be your mother or your father, is serious about that person, then you put forth the effort, not just sitting back and saying, well, oh, they got to show me, they got to prove it to me, But you took a mature step to say, you know what? Okay, since my dad or my mom is serious, let me put forth the effort to get to know this person. And I think a lot of us get stuck in that little girl, little boy phase, and we don't want to have to do that. No, I don't want to get to know you, because that was my stance for a long time. I'm getting better with my stepfather, but my stance was, no, who are you? And I just wanted my mom by herself, and so I don't want to get to know you. and unfortunately, in my 30s, this is how I was being. So thank you for checking even the older of us who may still act that way with our parents and the people that they date or have married.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like that as well. That's my granddaddy.
Uh-huh.
That's my granddaddy. And
Mm-hmm.
he be trying this sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta let him know, hey, that's somebody's grandfather now.
Right.
And I gotta let them know, hey, that's somebody's grandfather now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So it's just, I don't know what this computer's done, but I just feel as though that it's a lose-lose or a lose-win or win-win situation when it comes to that. You really never know.
Yeah.
And
she's silly. She said nobody needs to talk to my dad. I'm 40. I understand. I got you. That's how I feel about my mama. But my mom is married, and she's been married for years. So I got to get over it. I'm getting better, though. I feel you, though, Reese. It's like, we get territorial and, protective of our parents.
Right.
So, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I understand.
When it comes to simple stuff like that, I'm okay. I learned with my dad. My mom, I've been kind of pushing her into dating.
Thank you, Paige. We trying to do it too, girl. Go push, girl. Go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
I would see like a certain date and I'd be like, oh, might get this right here. Okay, you might like it. Or if somebody looking at him or looking at her, I'd be like, okay, he okay, get
yes.
there. Unless they ugly, then I'll be like, all right,
right, yeah, we don't.
But yeah, it's definitely different. My dad, I was accepted, and my mom kind of pushing it. But really, I'm very territorial when it comes to my grandfather.
Okay.
That's the only way I can say. Like, I don't listen. Very territorial when it comes to my granddad. I don't know why, because I even pushed my grandmother into the dating area. But I feel though since when I was born, my grandfather was married.
Okay.
And now that he's not, it's like, okay, now I have to protect you from everybody.
Right, exactly.
So that I can see where it's coming from, because even I know it's going to be hard for me to open up to whoever my mom decides to marry, because what makes you different? Like, how can I know you're going to stay here? Because my mom known people for years. And they end up, not being the relationship ended up not going where she wanted it to go, or they ended up not talking anymore. And it's just like, I don't like to see my mom hurt, because very territorial over her as well.
Yep.
And it's just like, when you hurt my mom, you're not necessarily hurting me in the situation, but you're hurting yourself, because you're missing out. Like, I mean, my mom was in the back of this.
On that amazing woman. Okay.
Yeah, so it's just, I have to realize that, everybody doesn't think like how I think.
Right.
And that, you really have to just be open. If my mom decided she was going to date, I'm going to may have to fly back down a little bit and meet the person.
Right.
But, if my dad, say my dad started dating again, I don't know how that's going to go. I really don't know. Because, like, God forbid he does, but if he did, I don't really know how to handle that, honestly.
Right. Yeah.
Because, all right, so you have to calm down a little bit. 3 kids deep now.
Right.
Can't do it.
That is too funny. So in our last 10 minutes together, I want to talk about you. Like, tell us about the amazing things that you're doing. Tell us about what your purpose is in life, your vision. Let's just talk about Paige.
Oh, okay. So what I'm doing right now is a lot. I'm the social media director of Her Campus CAU. Yes. So with that, I'm basically running all of our social media sites. I have a team under me, and I tell them what to post and when to post it.
Mm.
And I make sure I correct their captions and all that other good stuff. And that's what they do. Been running strong for almost a year now. Kind of over it because it's a lot.
Yeah.
But I'm going to keep doing it. I am also a social media manager for, I don't know if y'all follow the Diva Files. But it's online magazine where it's based off, it's ran by college students basically. And we get to go to like different events. So I'm the manager for the hot tracks section. So that's basically like new upcoming music and stuff. So whenever new things happen in Atlanta area, because I'm in the Atlanta area right now, I would go. Like say if T.I. had a release party for a new EP, I would go to that. And I would be posting off of their page.
You get to meet them too?
Most likely. Sometimes you just see them in, sometimes you just see them in, passing. Okay. But T.I. is a very like personal person. So he's a hey, how are you doing type person. Yeah, it's cool. I haven't been to an event with them yet, but I have been to a meeting. I was also doing an internship with Theory Communication. That was a PR agency. That was only for a semester. And I did go to a lot of events with that. I actually met T.I. Like, it was like a lunch type situation happening. Yeah. But that was like quick. But other than that, like I told you earlier, I'm in a pageant, the Miss Bold and Beautiful. Yeah. Still paying dues for that. So if you guys want to know, shoot me the $20. My PayPal's open. But yeah, so that's basically the Bold, Beautiful, and Chic Society is basically an organization for uplifting plus size women, voluptuous women, and of course, people who just want to be a part of it. It's to make them feel more welcome and to feel more loved. Because, they say now the average size of a woman is like a 14, but, people always have their own eyes for what, perfect is. And this organization lets people know that there is not a perfect weight or a perfect size, and that you could be whoever you want to be in your body and your comfort, and that we accept you for who you are. So that's beautiful. Really one of my favorite little organizations right now. Other than my dance team, which I'm still the vice president over. Next year, I will not be dancing. Actually, we were supposed to not dance. Me and Bree, the president, we were supposed to not dance because of another situation that got canceled.
Okay, gotcha.
But we still decided we're not going to dance because we want to get internships. We got to do graduation stuff, and it's a lot. And it's just, I feel like that's pretty much it. Okay. My dog's living with me now,
Yes, Piper.
And I feel like that's pretty much it.
So what would you say your purpose is in life, and when did you know what it was?
So I really feel my purpose in life is probably to help people. And I realized that probably when I started working with Monet.
Okay. And Monet has a dance studio here.
Yes, ZD Dance Academy. And it was just all the kids, I was a little mean because, you gotta put your foot down on children. But it was still the fact that I would be authoritative, but I would still be, okay, what's wrong? What's going on? Why are you crying? I would still make sure I had their back in situations. And even though no matter if I just yell at them or put them in the corner for 15 minutes, they would still, Miss Paige, can I do this? Or Miss Paige, can I ride with you on the bus? It's just, that's what kind of made me realize that I was supposed to help people because of how they kind of flocked to me. And a child's opinion is the most raw opinion y'all could ever get. And I felt as though that really helped me decide where I wanted to go. But also, when I first got to college, I wanted to be a couples counselor. And that's because when I was in high school, I had a lot of friends, I was in relationships, and they would come to me about everything. So I thought I was good at it.
Yeah.
But also, when I really did research, it made me kind of want to go into it more because there's more divorces in a year than there is marriages.
Absolutely.
So I feel as though, I mean, yeah, helping the child is easy, kiss the boo-boo, you know, make it up, make them happy again. But fixing like an actual relationship, I want people to realize like, why were y'all together in the first place? What was y'all purpose of being together? What did you get out of it? And like, what are the pros and cons? Are there more pros and cons? And it's just simple things like that. But also, like I said previously, when my mentee, my little sis, she hit me up and she was just like, I really appreciate you for everything that you've done. Because everything that I was just saying to her was stuff that nobody has ever said to me. Like, guided her through her freshman year. I didn't know, okay, well, don't walk across the promenade at nighttime because you don't know what's going on. Don't walk by yourself. Yeah, people tell me don't walk by yourself, but nobody actually walked with me after they told me not to walk by myself. Or it's just simple things like that. If she needed to get off campus, since I lived off campus, I would let her come to my house for the weekend or for a week. She stayed there for probably like 4 or 5 days. And I was just taking her back and forth to campus, but she was also on the dance team with me. I got there earlier. My classes were earlier, so she would still go back to her room, but she wanted to go back to her room. It kind of worked out. Yeah. So I was basically just helping her, and it was just me out the kindness of my heart. Like, that's my little dances. You know, I kind of took her under my wing. But from her, it was just such a loving and caring situation. She really appreciated everything I did for her. Like, if she wanted some food, if she didn't have money, I would, give her some food, or I would give her the food that I had in my house already. And it's just stuff like that she really appreciated. And it made me realize, like, the little things do count. And again, like, when everybody is watching you. So I feel as though everything that's just been happening and piling on to what I've been doing has really made me realize that helping people is my life purpose. Because even though you're going to help somebody in some type of way, I really don't know what type of way I want to help people in now, because I'm looking towards the public relations aspect of graduate school. But
nice.
It's just, that's what I really want to do. And I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I know that if I could do something that's going to change somebody's life or change the way they're thinking and how they respond or react to certain things, that's what I want to be a part of.
Yeah. And that is so key. And I think, like you said, things have just been happening that have helped you to evolve into the young lady that you are today. And I like what your mom said in the comments. Put them in positions and in places with people that were add in their growth. And like you were saying, Monet, who owns the dance studio here, Zion's daughter's dance studio, has done that and has provided her with the opportunity to mold her passion. So that's one of the things, as we're listening to this conversation, that I hope parents take away from this as well. Put them in positions that they can grow and just mold and shape what their passion is. Be observant. What are they naturally gravitating to? And just, help to cultivate that passion and that desire, and put them in environments where that can be cultivated. You don't have to be the only one doing it, but just put them in positions for them to grow and place them around people so that they can just grow and evolve into the person that they were created to be. Because everybody has a purpose. We just have to figure out what it is. And there's never, too young or too old to find out what that is. You just have to be observant and be prayerful also, and just point your child in that direction of where they're naturally drawn to. Yeah. And I think that's what, your mom did for you. And now it's like you're blossoming into this beautiful flower, and you're just going to go out into the world and just be this amazing being that's going to help other people, So, yeah. So that is so, so beautiful. So anything else for last words that you want to say to parents, to children watching, any last words?
Let's see. What can I drop on y'all? I would say this goes for both parents and children. Okay. Is to give to them as they give to you.
Okay.
And by that, I mean, yes, my mom pours into me daily, and I appreciate that. But I also realize that, even though she's my mother, she is a person, like, and be noticeable of like how her day is going and like what's going on in her life, because even though we are basically the same person, we are in two different states, and she might be going through something that she doesn't necessarily want to talk about. But I know if I ask her how she's feeling or, you know, what's really going on, she would tell me. So just be mindful of your parents and their actions, because you can usually tell what's going on in somebody's life if you know them.
Yeah.
But when it comes to having a parent and child relationship, it's just, you have to be mindful that, yes, that's your parent, but you also have to look after them just as they look after you.
That's so good. That's so good. Yeah. Because it's so easy for a child to just take, and that's mommy, and they're just giving to me, and that's daddy, you know. But, you know, let me pay attention. Let me pour back into them so much that they're pouring into me. So that is beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. Yes, ma'am. So thank you, Paige. I appreciate you having this conversation, and thank you to all of you who are out there watching. I hope you got something from this conversation as a parent or as a child or as an aunt or just, you know, as a mentor, that you got something from this that you can carry on into somebody else's life. And I do these conversations every Wednesday at 8 o'clock because I am passionate, like I said, about relationships, all types. So next week, we're going to have a couple on who is one of my favorite couples who I have admired for a long time, their marriage, my aunt and uncle, Aunt Diane and Uncle Luke, and they've been married for a long time, and now they're empty nesters. So if we have some married couples who are out there who are empty nesters and trying to figure out how to, you know, relate to each other now that the children are out of the house, we're going to talk about that next week. So until then, thank you for tuning in, and I will talk to you all later. Thank you, Paige.
Bye.
Bye. Good night.
Good night.